What if the most dangerous time for your heart isn't when you're wide awake and stressed, but when you're peacefully asleep? It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? We often think of sleep as a sanctuary, a time for our bodies to repair and rejuvenate. Yet for millions of people, especially as we age, nighttime becomes a silent battleground where hidden dangers quietly emerge, putting our hearts at their greatest risk. Think of Mr. David, a beloved grandfather in his early 70s. He was active, always hiking with his grandkids, enjoying life to the fullest. He had regular checkups and everything seemed fine. Yet one quiet morning, his family found him unresponsive in bed. No warning, no chest pain, just silence. His doctor, baffled, later admitted, "We thought he was doing great for his age." This story, sadly, is far too common. While we sleep, our blood pressure shifts, breathing patterns change, and oxygen levels can dip in ways we never notice. These aren't random events. They're often the result of preventable mistakes, silent saboteurs that we unknowingly invite into our nightly routine. Tonight, I'm going to share 7 of these hidden dangers that are quietly threatening your heart while you sleep. But more importantly, I'll show you how to fix them, gently and effectively, starting tonight. Do you ever wonder what truly happens to your body when you sleep? Let's dive right into the first silent mistake, a habit so common that millions of people believe they're doing the right thing, yet it could be silently sabotaging their heart every single night.
Most of us try to avoid waking up at night, and we think we're smart about it. But what if one of those smart habits is quietly putting your heart at risk? Our first silent saboteur is something almost everyone does with the best intentions: going to bed dehydrated. You see, many of us, especially as we get older, consciously stop drinking water in the evening. The reason? To avoid those annoying middle-of-the-night trips to the bathroom. It sounds perfectly logical, even practical, right? We think we're protecting our sleep, but inside your body, a very different and potentially dangerous process is unfolding. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker. Imagine trying to pump molasses through a pipe instead of water. Your heart has to work much, much harder. This thicker blood means your circulation slows down, and your risk of clot formation quietly increases. This is particularly concerning during the early morning hours, typically between 2 and 6 a.m., when your heart rate naturally drops and your blood pressure fluctuates. This combination, thicker blood, slower circulation, and natural nighttime changes, creates a perfect storm where heart attacks and strokes are most likely to occur. Older adults are even more vulnerable because their thirst sensation naturally diminishes, and some common medications can also contribute to dehydration. I remember Mrs. Emily, a sweet 75-year-old patient who proudly told me she hadn't touched a drop of water after 6 p.m. for years. She thought she was being smart, ensuring she wouldn't have to wake up. We talked about how unknowingly she was making her heart's job much tougher during its most vulnerable hours. The solution isn't to chug a gallon of water before bed. Instead, it's about smart, gentle hydration.
A small glass of water, about half a cup or 150 milliliters, around 60 to 90 minutes before you plan to sleep, can make a significant difference. It helps keep your blood flowing smoothly and easily, giving your heart a much-needed break. Did you ever think a seemingly innocent habit like avoiding water could pose such a risk? But hydration alone isn't enough to protect your heart if you're making our second mistake, which has everything to do with how you position your body as you drift off to sleep. We crave comfort in bed, but what if your comfortable sleeping position is secretly straining your heart? We just talked about how subtle dehydration can challenge your heart, but even if you're perfectly hydrated, there's a second silent mistake many people make that puts immense pressure on this vital organ: sleeping completely flat on your back, especially if your heart can't handle it. Lying flat feels natural, comfortable, and for years it might have been perfectly fine. But as we age, our body's ability to manage fluid shifts changes. Think about it. When you lie completely flat, gravity redistributes fluids more evenly across your body, and a significant portion can shift towards your chest. This increases pressure in your lungs and makes your heart work harder to pump blood against that resistance. For anyone with even mild undiagnosed heart weakness, high blood pressure, or early signs of heart failure, this subtle change can be a significant burden.
Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night feeling a strange shortness of breath, or found yourself needing to sit up to breathe more comfortably? Many people dismiss this as anxiety, indigestion, or just getting old, but often it's your heart signaling that it's struggling under nighttime conditions. I once had a wonderful patient, Mrs. Sanchez, who came to me complaining of restless nights. When I asked about her sleeping position, she mentioned she stacked several pillows under her head, but she didn't really know why. It was just the only way she felt comfortable. Her body, through instinct, had figured out what her mind hadn't. Elevating her upper body significantly reduced the strain on her heart. She wasn't being picky about her pillows. She was unconsciously compensating for a problem. You don't need to sleep sitting upright or invest in expensive adjustable beds. Even a slight elevation, just a few inches, can make a world of difference. Using a wedge pillow or simply placing some firm pillows to create a gentle incline for your upper body allows gravity to assist, keeping fluid from pooling in your chest. This simple adjustment helps your heart and lungs work together more efficiently, giving your heart the gentle night's rest it truly deserves. Have you ever felt more comfortable sleeping with your head slightly elevated, even if you weren't sure why? But even the perfect sleeping position won't protect your heart if you're making our third silent mistake, relying on the wrong kind of helper before bed.
We often reach for a helper to fall asleep, but what if that very aid is quietly working against your heart all night long? We've explored how simple hydration and even your sleeping posture can impact your heart. But now, let's talk about our third silent mistake, one that many of us believe is helping us, yet could be a hidden hazard, relying on the wrong kind of helper before bed. Sleep aids are incredibly common, from over-the-counter products like antihistamines found in many cold medications to melatonin supplements and even prescription sleep medications. We often view them as harmless shortcuts to a good night's rest. However, for many people, especially as we age, these helpers can interfere with breathing, subtly lower oxygen levels, or even disrupt your heart's rhythm. The most dangerous part, they often don't cause obvious symptoms. You won't necessarily feel pain or wake up gasping for air. Instead, your heart rhythm might become unstable, or your oxygen levels might drop just enough, quietly triggering a fatal event. For example, some antihistamines can have anticholinergic effects that may impact heart rate, while benzodiazepines and other Z drugs can depress respiratory function, which is particularly risky if you have undiagnosed sleep apnea. Even melatonin, widely considered safe, can interact with certain medications like blood thinners or blood pressure drugs, and high doses might cause unexpected effects. I recall Mr. Thomas, a gentle soul in his late 60s, who took an over-the-counter sleep aid most nights for years. He genuinely believed he was doing himself a favor, getting good sleep. But what he didn't realize was that it was masking his mild sleep apnea, exacerbating the oxygen dips and silently stressing his heart. He thought he was solving his sleep problem, but he was inadvertently creating a heart problem. This is why it's crucial to ask a very specific question when considering any nighttime medication or supplement. Is this safe for my heart while I sleep? If the answer isn't unequivocally clear, that's a red flag. Sometimes the best helper isn't a pill at all, but simpler routines that genuinely calm your system. Have you ever stopped to consider if your sleep aid is truly heart safe? But even if you're smart about your sleep aids, there's a fourth silent mistake, deeply ingrained in our daily lives, that many of us simply ignore: the subtle signals our body sends us every night. Do you dismiss those little nighttime disturbances as just getting older? What if your heart is actually screaming for help? We've talked about what you put into your body and how you position it. Now, let's address our fourth silent mistake, and it's perhaps one of the most overlooked and dangerous: dismissing nighttime symptoms you've grown used to. Humans are incredibly adaptable. We normalize discomfort. We tell ourselves that loud snoring, gasping during sleep, night sweats, or waking up tired despite a full night's rest are just part of getting older. But here's a crucial truth: your heart doesn't adapt the way your mindset does. It tolerates stress until it simply can't anymore. These seemingly benign symptoms are often your heart's way of signaling distress. One of the most common and dangerous conditions related to this is sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea, whether it's obstructive, OSA, where your airway is physically blocked, or central, CSA, where your brain fails to send proper signals, causes repeated drops in oxygen during the night. Imagine your heart trying to work efficiently under a constant lack of oxygen. Over time, this dramatically increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and sudden death during sleep. What makes it so insidious is that many people don't even know they have it. Their partner might complain about the snoring or breathing pauses, but the person sleeping has no memory of it. I remember Mr. Henry, a jovial man whose wife always brought up his chainsaw snoring during his checkups. He'd just laugh and say, "Oh, that's just me getting old." But it wasn't harmless. Once diagnosed with severe sleep apnea and treated, his heart rhythm stabilized, his blood pressure improved, and he woke up feeling truly refreshed for the first time in years.
Ignoring nighttime symptoms doesn't make you tough, it makes you vulnerable. Beyond sleep apnea, pay attention to other subtle but significant signs, like waking up with a racing heart, morning headaches, unexplained chest pain at night, or even frequently having to get up to urinate, nocturia. These can all be indicators of underlying cardiac strain. If any of these sound uncomfortably familiar, it's not just a sleep issue. It's a signal to take seriously and discuss with your doctor. Don't let your adaptability blind you to your heart's cries for help. What's one nighttime symptom you've always ignored but now realize might be a red flag? But even if you're listening to your body's whispers, there's a fifth silent mistake, often hidden in plain sight, that can still undermine your heart's ability to truly rest: the subtle but powerful influence of your own internal clock.
Beyond the obvious, what if your body's own internal clock is secretly playing a dangerous tune for your heart every single night? We've delved into external factors and body signals. Now, let's uncover our fifth silent mistake, one that's often hidden in plain sight, influencing your heart's ability to truly rest: the subtle but powerful influence of your own internal clock, your circadian rhythm. Think of your body as a finely tuned orchestra. Each section, your brain, your digestive system, your hormones, and especially your heart, has a specific part to play at certain times of the day and night. Your circadian rhythm is the conductor, ensuring everything performs in harmony. It dictates when your blood pressure naturally dips, when certain hormones are released, and when your heart rate should slow down for deep repair. This natural 24-hour cycle is crucial for your heart's health. But what happens when the conductor gets confused? When you constantly change your bedtime, pull all-nighters for work, or suffer from chronic jet lag, you're essentially disrupting this delicate internal rhythm. Your heart expects a predictable dip in activity at night for rest and recovery, but an erratic schedule keeps it on high alert. This chronic disruption prevents your heart from getting the deep restorative rest it desperately needs, leading to constant low-level stress, unstable blood pressure, and an increased risk of cardiac events over time. I recall Miss Clara, a dedicated marketing executive, whose work-life balance often meant late nights and early mornings with no consistent sleep schedule. She'd bounce between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. bedtimes. She developed unexplained fatigue and fluctuating blood pressure, even with a healthy diet. We explained how her inconsistent sleep schedule was essentially giving her heart whiplash every night, never allowing it to settle into its natural restorative rhythm.
Once she prioritized a consistent bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends, her energy soared and her blood pressure stabilized. This isn't just about getting enough hours of sleep. It's about getting those hours at a consistent time. By honoring your circadian rhythm, you're not just getting sleep. You're giving your heart the predictable, harmonious environment it needs to truly repair and strengthen itself every single night. How consistent is your sleep schedule? Does your internal clock get the rhythm it needs? But even a perfectly synchronized internal clock can't fully protect your heart if you're making our sixth silent mistake, one that often feels unavoidable: carrying the emotional burdens of your day right into your bed.
You prepare your body for sleep, but what about your mind? What if unspoken worries are silently taxing your heart all night? We've discussed how hydration, posture, sleep aids, and even your internal clock impact your heart. But there's a sixth, silent mistake, often the hardest to acknowledge because it comes from within, carrying the emotional burdens of your day right into your bed. Most of us think of stress as a daytime problem, deadlines, family drama, bad news. But what very few people understand is that the way you enter sleep profoundly determines how your heart behaves for the next 6 to 8 hours. If you go to bed feeling tense, anxious, angry, or mentally overstimulated, your nervous system doesn't just switch off when you close your eyes. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline remain elevated. Your heart rate stays higher than it should, your blood pressure doesn't dip to its natural nighttime low, and your heart never truly gets the rest it needs for repair and recovery. Your heart is designed to slow down at night. That's when cellular repair happens. That's when your nervous system should shift into recovery mode. But it can't do that if your mind is replaying worries, scrolling through alarming news, or lying in bed tense and alert. From your heart's perspective, stress doesn't care whether it comes from a physical threat or a mental one. The body reacts the same way. I recall Miss Lena, a dedicated teacher. She'd tell me, nighttime is when my thoughts get loud. She'd spend hours replaying classroom incidents or planning tomorrow's lessons, her mind buzzing. What she didn't realize was that loud thoughts meant her heart was under immense strain. The good news is, this mistake is one of the easiest effects, and it doesn't require medication or equipment.
It requires a decision to create a buffer zone between your day and your sleep. Think of it as giving your heart permission to stand down. A simple wind-down routine, even just 20 to 30 minutes, can dramatically change how your heart behaves overnight. No arguments, no heavy conversations, no doom scrolling on your phone, no intense TV. Instead, dim the lights, slow your breathing, sit quietly, stretch gently. You can try a simple 4-7-8 breathing exercise. Breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. When your breathing slows, your heart follows. That's not philosophy, that's physiology. I often tell patients to imagine they're speaking directly to their heart before sleep, saying, "You're safe now. You can rest." It sounds simple, almost silly, but the nervous system responds to calm signals, not logic. Calm signals produce calm responses. What's one small change you can make tonight to create a peaceful buffer zone for your mind before sleep?
These 6 mistakes highlight the hidden ways our nights can challenge our hearts. But even with all these insights, there's one final, all-encompassing mistake that ties everything together and determines whether your heart truly gets the rest it deserves, ignoring the bigger picture of your overall heart health. We've covered 6 hidden dangers, but what if all your efforts are undermined by missing the most crucial piece, understanding your heart's complete story? We've delved into 6 distinct silent mistakes, from subtle dehydration to the hidden stress in your thoughts. Each one, on its own, can gently nudge your heart towards trouble. But here's the unsettling truth about our 7th and final silent mistake, the one that ties everything together: the fragmented focus, ignoring your heart's bigger story. Many of us diligently tackle one health issue at a time. We might manage our blood pressure, or cut down on sugar, or even start drinking water before bed. And that's commendable. But the heart is a complex, integrated system, and focusing on isolated pieces of the puzzle without understanding their interconnectedness or proactively monitoring the whole picture is a critical oversight. Think of Mr. Johnson. He was a meticulous man, proud of his routine. He never missed his blood pressure medication and was diligent about his daily walks. Yet he rarely checked his cholesterol, and when asked about his blood sugar, he'd shrug, saying, "No one ever told me that was a problem for my heart." He was actively trying to be healthy, but his focus was fragmented. He missed how high cholesterol silently contributes to arterial plaque, or how unmanaged blood sugar can damage tiny blood vessels, placing an invisible, cumulative strain on his heart, even while he thought he was doing everything right. This mistake is about more than just one bad habit. It's about a mindset. It's the mistake of seeing your heart health in silos, rather than as a holistic ecosystem.
It's about not knowing your numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your weight. These are not just medical statistics. They are vital chapters in your heart's ongoing story.
By ignoring parts of this story, we miss early warnings and opportunities for gentle course corrections. To truly protect your heart at night and beyond, you need to become its vigilant storyteller, actively understanding all its chapters. This means regular checkups, asking your doctor about all your vital heart metrics, and adopting a holistic approach to your lifestyle, from a heart-healthy diet during the day to creating that optimal, cool, dark, quiet sleep environment we often forget. It's about empowering yourself to connect the dots, because when you understand the full narrative, you can prevent chapters from turning tragic. What part of your heart's bigger story have you been overlooking? Share your insights.
These 7 silent mistakes, when viewed together, paint a powerful picture of how our nightly routines shape our heart's destiny. But understanding is just the first step. Now, let's bring all this knowledge together and talk about how these small, gentle corrections can lead to a truly resilient heart.
After uncovering these silent threats, what if the true power lies not just in avoiding mistakes, but in actively building a heart that thrives through the night? We've journeyed through 7 silent mistakes that can quietly compromise your heart's health during sleep. But understanding what not to do is only half the battle. Now, let's shift our focus to what you can do, proactively, to build a heart that not only avoids danger, but truly thrives through the night. This is about moving beyond simply fixing problems to actively fortifying your heart. First, it's crucial to be a diligent detective for your own health. This means knowing your numbers, beyond just your blood pressure. Truly understand your cholesterol levels, both good and bad, your blood sugar, and even your weight. These aren't just statistics. They are vital chapters in your heart's ongoing story, revealing potential risks long before symptoms appear. Schedule regular checkups and actively discuss all these metrics with your doctor. Remember Mr. Lee? He diligently managed his blood pressure, but always overlooked his cholesterol, thinking it was fine. Once he understood how all his numbers intertwined, he became empowered, not just reactive. Second, let's optimize your evening habits. This means mindful nutrition. Choose a light dinner, avoid heavy, fatty foods that make your digestive system work overtime, and definitely steer clear of caffeine or excessive alcohol in the late afternoon and evening. Think soothing herbal teas instead. Also, incorporate gentle movement into your early evening. A short, relaxed walk after dinner or some light stretching can significantly improve sleep quality without overstimulating your heart. It signals to your body that the day is winding down. Finally, and often overlooked, is creating an optimal sleep sanctuary. Your bedroom should be your haven. Make it dark. Block out all light sources.
Keep it cool. A slightly lower temperature helps induce sleep and reduces metabolic demand on your heart. And make it quiet. Use earplugs or a white noise machine if needed. A consistently serene sleep environment tells your heart and nervous system that it's truly safe to enter deep rest. By consciously embracing these proactive steps, being informed, nourishing your body wisely, and curating your sleep space, you're not just avoiding trouble, you're actively cultivating a resilient heart, giving it the profound restorative care it deserves every single night. What's one proactive step you'll take tonight to fortify your heart? These 7 silent mistakes, coupled with these powerful proactive steps, paint a complete picture of how our nightly routines shape our heart's destiny. Now, let's bring all this knowledge together and discuss the ultimate payoff, a truly resilient heart. We've uncovered the silent threats and proactive steps. Now, what if you could transform your nights from a hidden test into a powerful opportunity for your heart to truly thrive? We've journeyed through 7 silent mistakes and explored proactive steps to fortify your heart. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this is where everything truly comes together. None of the 7 mistakes we've talked about feel dramatic on their own. That's what makes them so dangerous. They don't hurt, they don't scare you instantly. They simply set the stage, quietly, for something far more serious. Skipping water, sleeping flat, taking a pill without questioning its heart safety, ignoring snoring, disrupting your internal clock, carrying stress to bed, or overlooking your overall health numbers. Each one, subtly,
increases nighttime cardiac strain. And when several of them happen together, night after night, year after year, your heart eventually reaches a breaking point.
The people who suffer sudden events in their sleep are rarely reckless. They're often just doing what they've always done, unknowingly. This is why awareness matters so much, because once you know what puts your heart at risk during sleep, you can make small, gentle changes that have outsized, even life-saving effects. Think of Mr. Chen, who, after years of dismissing his morning fatigue, decided to implement just a few of these suggestions. Within weeks, he felt a calm he hadn't experienced in decades. So let's make this practical, tonight. Before you go to bed, commit to these 7 simple things. First, drink a small glass of water about 60-90 minutes before sleep. Second, adjust your sleeping position so your upper body is slightly elevated. Third, take a moment to question any medication or supplement you use to help you sleep, asking if it's truly heart-safe. Fourth, pay attention to nighttime symptoms you've been brushing off as normal, like snoring or waking up tired.
Fifth, aim for a consistent sleep and wake-up time to honor your body's circadian rhythm. Sixth, give your mind a peaceful buffer zone before sleep. No arguments, no doom scrolling, just calm. And seventh, be vigilant about your overall heart health. Know your numbers and discuss them with your doctor. These are not extreme measures. They are gentle corrections, and they matter because sleep is not just rest. Sleep is a test. Every night, your heart is tested under low oxygen, slow circulation, and shifting pressures. The goal is not to make that test harder than it needs to be. When you support your heart properly at night, it becomes more resilient during the day, improving blood pressure, stabilizing rhythm, and boosting energy. Nighttime care isn't separate from heart health. It's the foundation of it. This isn't just about avoiding tragedy. It's about building a healthier, more vibrant life.
Which of these 7 simple steps will you start implementing tonight for a healthier heart? Remember, the most dangerous heart mistakes don't happen in public, they happen quietly in the dark. But with this awareness, you now have the power to protect yourself and those you love. Share this video with someone who might need to hear this vital message.
We've uncovered the silent threats and proactive steps. Now, what if you could transform your nights from a hidden test into a powerful opportunity for your heart to truly thrive? We've journeyed through 7 silent mistakes and explored proactive steps to fortify your heart. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this is where everything truly comes together. None of the 7 mistakes we've talked about feel dramatic on their own. That's what makes them so dangerous. They don't hurt, they don't scare you instantly. They simply set the stage, quietly, for something far more serious. Skipping water, sleeping flat, taking a pill without questioning its heart safety, ignoring snoring, disrupting your internal clock, carrying stress to bed, or overlooking your overall health numbers, each one subtly increases nighttime cardiac strain. And when several of them happen together, night after night, year after year, your heart eventually reaches a breaking point.
The people who suffer sudden events in their sleep are rarely reckless. They're often just doing what they've always done, unknowingly. This is why awareness matters so much, because once you know what puts your heart at risk during sleep, you can make small, gentle changes that have outsized, even life-saving effects. Think of Mr. Chen, who, after years of dismissing his morning fatigue, decided to implement just a few of these suggestions. Within weeks, he felt a calm he hadn't experienced in decades. So let's make this practical, tonight. Before you go to bed, commit to these 7 simple things. First, drink a small glass of water about 60-90 minutes before sleep. Second, adjust your sleeping position so your upper body is slightly elevated. Third, take a moment to question any medication or supplement you use to help you sleep, asking if it's truly heart-safe. Fourth, pay attention to nighttime symptoms you've been brushing off as normal, like snoring or waking up tired.
Fifth, aim for a consistent sleep and wake-up time to honor your body's circadian rhythm. Sixth, give your mind a peaceful buffer zone before sleep. No arguments, no doom scrolling, just calm. And seventh, be vigilant about your overall heart health. Know your numbers and discuss them with your doctor.
These are not extreme measures, they are gentle corrections, and they matter because sleep is not just rest. Sleep is a test. Every night, your heart is tested under low oxygen, slow circulation, and shifting pressures. The goal is not to make that test harder than it needs to be. When you support your heart properly at night, it becomes more resilient during the day, improving blood pressure, stabilizing rhythm, and boosting energy. Nighttime care isn't separate from heart health, it's the foundation of it. This isn't just about avoiding tragedy, it's about building a healthier, more vibrant life.
Which of these 7 simple steps will you start implementing tonight for a healthier heart? Remember, the most dangerous heart mistakes don't happen in public, they happen quietly in the dark. But with this awareness, you now have the power to protect yourself and those you love. Share this video with someone who might need to hear this vital message.